Hello, how are you? Today we will discuss about the term classical literature. Before moving into classical literature, we know about what is classic, what is the difference between classic and classical. Classic is an outstanding example of a particular style, so it talks about the style. Please remember, something of lasting worth or the first or highest quality, class, or rank. So, classic means it signifies the highest quality, also the class and rank, something that exemplifies its class and judged over a period of time to be of outstanding of its kind. So a thing becomes an outstanding kind or a thing during the course of the time and becomes a classic. I have given an example of a classic. What it means a classic. Hamlet is a classic example of a tragedy. So when you hear a tragedy can be known, the quality of a tragedy can be known through by viewing the work or seeing the play Hamlet. One more example, Tolstoy's War and Peace is a classic. So a thing has become a classic. It achieves the highest quality and thus it becomes a classic. Then what is classical? Classical is something related to ancient Greek or Latin literature or art or culture, representing an exemplary standard within a tradition and long established form or style. So when you say classical, it represents a tradition. It represents a tradition of exemplary standards. So those standards, when we talk about, then it is called a classical. Then we move on to the word classical literature or classical literary criticism. A work of classical literature refers only to ancient Greek and Roman works, while classics are great works of literature throughout the ages. So, classical literature refers only to ancient Greek and Roman works, while classics refers to the literature throughout the ages. It may belongs to any country. It may be the classics of any country. Classical literature refers to the great masterpieces of Greek, Roman, and other civilizations. The works of Homer, Ovid, and Sophocles are all examples of classical literature we have. The term is not just limited to poetry, but it also includes various forms of writing. That includes novel, epic, lyric, tragedy, comedy, pastoral, and other forms of writing. Now, the writers of the classical era have certain characteristics in common, like economy of words, direct expression, subtlety of thought, and attention to form. So, these are the qualities that the greatest writers of classical era have. What are those? Economy of words. What do you mean by economy of words? Economy of words means a poet doesn't select the words for the composition arbitrarily. That is the thing. He selects the word, he examines those words critically so that it gives him the meaning, the musical value, the emotional quality, and how the words fits itself in a relation to the poem. Such are the things that poets look for under economy of words. Then there will be a direct expression. There is no go round about the different things for the expression. Whatever the expression that he wants to reflect in his poem, he gives that in a direct form. Then subtlety of thought. Subtlety of thought. What do you mean by that? Subtlety of thought means it is refinement. There should be some decorum, refinement of thought, and attention to form. Two is present in their writings. What is the attention to form? What form that we are talking about here? Form means elements like the poem's stanza structure. When you talk about form, it talks about the stanza structure, line length, rhyme scheme, and rhythm. All these are expresses its form. So composing a poem according to greatest writers of classical era is not a easy thing. They had to take care of all those things and compose, and they had to compose the poems. Thus, Plato and Aristotle in Greece shaped the core of classical literary criticism in ancient period. Roman writers like Ovid, Horace, and Virgil, their impact and thought on classical literary criticism is still found today also and taken with great respect and admiration because those are the writers in classical era have given an utmost care and thought to make their poetry based on the economy of words, subtlety of thought, and attention to form and structure. There is there is no deviation from the established conventions of poetical writings, such that they have become famous then, famous today itself, today also, and they are going to be there tomorrow too. Such are the great writers of classical era, without whom our literature doesn't go anywhere. They are the pathfinders for us. They show the way how to compose a poem in a very beautiful manner. What are the things that you should compose of? All these things we come to know through these greatest writers of classical era. Thank you so much for viewing my video.